And here I am, as always, redoing the intro. Hi everyone, Roy here on my channel. Roy Reads Anything, including stories about occult detectives. What are they? Psychic doctors, crime fighters with hats and trench coats. They can be the slayers and scryers and seers. I've read them called weird finders, but basically those people who are out there in the borderlands battling supernatural menaces on our behalf so that we can sleep safely in our beds. And it's nearly Occult Detective October. So time to check the tyre pressures on the mystery machine as we embark on another month of celebrating that subgenre. So this is an event devised by MJ, the coolest bunch of co-hosts ever conceivably deployed on BookTube. Details down below. I'm one of them too. Haha. So yes, right. The idea is to read something from the world of occult detectives. That's all you got to do to be a participant. But you may want to follow some prompts that have been devised as well to give it a bit of structure for those of us whose lives would be collapsed like a Salvador Dali watch on the beach of life if we didn't have structure to work within. So that gives us some time-based ones. So the first week, pre-1960. Well, that goes back to the beginning of time. I'm quite interested in a Victorian series called John Bell, Ghost Exposer. Also sometimes known as John Bell, Master of Mysteries. I'd probably go with Master of Mysteries if I was an editor. But yeah, 6 stories written by L.T. Meade, a Irish female author who was very popular at the time, writing in all sorts of genres. They were originally in Cassell's Family Magazine. And I've actually got one of these bound sets that's got all of them in, so I'll be able to read them sort of as nature intended in the original issues with illustrations and all that kind of thing. So you know, I love the Victorian magazines. It's like time travel, really. Just the way you can feel and smell and look at the pages as they were originally bought on railway bookstalls or whatever back in the time. So John Bell stories, those are my picks for the first week. Then from pre-1960 we go, clever segue, into post-1960. So I've actually got a book from this year. It's a collection of stories by John Linwood Grant. An Unkindness of Shadows, about a character called Justin Margrave, an art critic in London in the mid-70s, a queer man of curiosities with an unusually open mind and talent for solving dire situations. And I read another John Linwood Grant book earlier this year, Ain't No Witch, about a wandering hoodoo woman in the American South. That was fantastic. So really looking forward to this. I just love the idea of the 70s setting. And it's a lovely put together book as well. We've got one of those rubbery covers, so if you're caught out in the rain, we've got you. What else? A week where the idea is to find a diverse author and or character. So here's my chance to start in on the Whyborne and Griffin series by Jordan L. Hawke. Series set in the 19th century. Don't know too much about it except that it combines supernatural stuff with some male-male romance, so that could be interesting. And if I like them, there's loads of them, and they're beautifully put together. So yeah, Whyborne and Griffin, Jordan L. Hawke. Which leads us up to an Anything Goes week, which is the last week, and there I've got some collections on my Kindle. Sherlock Holmes and the Occult Detectives. So these are anthologies edited by John Linwood Grant, for it is he, and always interesting to see cool team-ups with Sherlock Holmes and other characters. I don't know why it works. In a way it shouldn't. There's so many of them. You should be not another team-up with Holmes, but I suppose because Sherlock Holmes is so familiar, he gives us a kind of solid base to encounter maybe lesser known characters or characters that seem to be at odds with himself. So looks like we're going to see Holmes with occult detectives such as Luna Barsendale in Jessie Douglas Kerrish's novel The Undying Monster, Van Helsing from Dracula, John Silence, Algernon Blackwood's really sort of genre defining occult detective character, Carnacki the Ghost Finder, and with a mixture of other people, some real, some are other detectives. Maybe it's teaming up with other fictional detectives to face occult menaces. So yeah, looking forward to that. And basically there are multiple anthologies like this. I'll be able to plunge through as many of them as I can get through. So I'm doing some kind of limbering up reading as well in advance of October, including Occult Detective magazine Mythos Special 2. So here we have stories that are both occult detectives and they're Lovecraftian or Lovecraft related in some way. So that should be loaded with fun. And yet more LT Meade as well. So I'll have a couple of reviews I'm able to do fairly early on. Sorry, that was a bit of a brief glimpse, wasn't it? Eyes of Terror, collection of stories by LT Meade. And so this is bringing together, basically giving a sort of sample of all of her supernatural stuff, including excerpts from various series that she wrote. Because, as I'm always saying, I don't know. As I'm always saying, read Meade. Yeah. Long-term project to read different genres that this incredibly productive Victorian writer wrote in. So doing that, and that's pretty much how it's going to go down in October. Occult Detective October. Oh yeah, which sort of crosses over with Victober as well. So that's a month of celebrating Victorian literature. With that in mind, I'm reading a novel called Cecilia de Noel by Lanoe Falconer, which isn't really genre fiction, I don't think, but it has apparently got an occult investigator in it. So I'll probably report back on that as well. Sort of, I know, don't cross the streams, but I'm doing both events, and you know, things like the Meade stories that sort of fit both. That's very good, because there's still only 31 days in the month, however many events you choose to do. Right, that's it. I'll be back soon with something else.